Hey, all
Oh,
right. So,
okay, so stop talking about taking over the planet. Good.
right, yes. But yeah, Rose and Various, you have looked into the cavern after the ominous grindings of stone sounds, and you now see a massive cavern in front of you. The others don't see this because they have not come up to the door yet.
Rose is going to turn back to the rest of the party. Okay, it's no longer a mind-numbing maze. I think it's safe to go in.
Is it, or should we wait for someone to come to us?
Did you try calling for anyone?
He did. He did shout, like,
Mhm.
hello?
And you got nothing.
I suspect that if they're showing us this version of the cave now, that they're more or less laying out the welcome mat.
Mm. He looks to the others to see what they have to say.
Growl.
Since it's still a spell, thank you.
I know. Doesn't stop Tiberius from casting it.
You're fine.
Saying-
The bear slobber just kind of slides off you and hits the ground.
You saying I drool?
Profusely, yes.
Oh!
Trace will remember this.
Oh, don't worry. That's fine.
Bring Dungeon Mom.
Anyway, will you guys head in? What will you do? Tiberius, as you kind of walk over to the cave and kind of look into the archway, you see the exact same thing. Just a massive cavern with this huge opening on one side. Waterfalls, stalagmites and stalactites connecting one to one another to kind of create pseudo natural pillars between the ceiling and the ground. You see that you are actually more perched up on what seems to be a cliff area that has a pathway winding along the side of the cavern. And it is quite a long drop down to the cavern floor.
Tiberius will happily announce, this looks far more like an abode that's more appropriate than a cave of endless doors.
And your voice definitely echoes in here.
There's even an echo. Perfect. I can hear myself.
You do
He's
notice
just gonna
that the
walk towards
water. You do notice that the water in here, at least coming from the waterfalls in the giant, almost ocean-sized pool that seems to be at the bottom of the cavern, that there is a green tinge to everything, almost a jade-looking color. And you can actually see occasionally along the cavern floor and the walls outcrops of green-looking stones that seem to almost be gem-like in appearance.
Someone has some taste. He's going to be making little comments about everything he sees on the way of the obvious path forward.
Okay. Looks like Flix is going through as is Buck.
Only looking for pictures of himself, though.
Yeah, he wants to find more pictures of himself.
There aren't more pictures of Flix himself, but he does notice that there's a picture of the monster we fought down in the negative, of Pride, and then starting to get into the other members of the parties, like the two rabbits on a page, the Rose and Naira on a page, and then the further you get back, it's just random elemented primordials before it starts going into stuff from her world. Or her plane, or whatever you want to call it.
So, not Flix, is what I'm hearing.
There's only one Flix so far, and it's almost done, but not done. The very most recent picture.
So Flix is gonna ask, who's this other elemental with Rose? They look close. I don't like that.
Oh.
Oh, that's right. Flix wasn't there for.
He wasn't.
And yeah, they're a very, very pretty, feminine-looking
Not
primordial.
happy about
Gave me getting real close up on Rose in that picture.
This is not cool, bro. Not cool. What is this? Bro, what is this? You're
Ro-
cheating on me?
You cheating.
Rose is the most perplexed right now.
What? mate?
This? What is this? What is going on?
What are you on about?
I'm just picturing.
I get off Chris and like shove the picture in his face. This?
You are getting a book shoved into your face, Rose. It has a very well drawn and detailed picture of you and Naira.
It's fine pencil detail. I really don't get what you're trying to point out
Where's the
here.
part?
I mean, she was made of water, so moist and tart does make sense.
Various looks between Rose and Flex and is like, are you two in a relationship?
No!
No! He's my muse, but he's cheating on me with this. This!
I'm not. I am not doing anything to anyone!
I was writing so many beautiful songs about you! And now he's ugly crying.
The bear comes up and gently, like, nuzzles the leg.
Bear nuzzles the God damn.
And now he's like hugging the bear, ugly crying harder.
Oh my
I
God.
wrote so many ballads!
And Rose, you're just kind of seeing all of this play out right in front of you.
And like the immediate no.
Rose literally has no idea right now how to respond to this emotionally.
Just dead stare.
Roast is so confused right now.
And you got Flicks on the ground, ugly crying, hugging a big giant buck, fuzzy bear, various and Tibbs. How are you reacting to all of this?
He's just gonna kind of step over the downed Flicks and keep walking.
Oh, cold.
Even my rabid son doesn't even love me anymore.
I am not your son.
See, now he's saying it.
And the best part is that this is all echoing, so even more dramatic.
Stella!
My face hurts and I can't even say anything.
Flicks, that was Naira. She was assisting us when you left us. That's all. Rose and her only had shared like 3 or 4 moments. That's all, really.
Way too many.
That shriek was so loud I heard it in Jim's mic.
So does that mean
Do
you
you
and
mean
Naira
moments?
were in a relationship?
Oh,
We were not in a. Oh, for Leonard's sake.
Leonard can't hear you scream here.
Rose
thought
just
we
kind
had
of
something
Rose just puts their arms up for a moment, like they're trying to like form some kind of counter argument, and then just like drops her arms and just starts walking to the cave. It's like, oh,
It's
screw
up.
this.
I am a little curious about something though. There's various pads after him. So you've all made it clear that most primordials are not alive or were alive. I'm still trying to piece this all together.
They're not amorous. Are the twins?
Mm.
I mean, we were alive at one point, but now we're this. What are you trying to get at?
No, if Tiberius was correct, then I've got my answer.
If Tiberius was correct.
I think you just mildly insulted your intelligence there, Tibbs.
Mildly. That's an understatement. Questioning the great Tiberius.
Here's the best part: we're just proving we're not a threat.
Mm-hmm. And whoever wants to, go ahead and make me a slight Arcana check, please.
Sure, I can. You know, that my
Is this -4 stat? No, thank you.
Uh,
I will continue to be the teddy bear.
it's okay. It's okay. I'll bring my 11 to the table.
Pretty much, Tibbs. Okay, yeah, wow, holy shit. Yeah, Rose, as you're kind of seeing all this and still trying to comprehend exactly what the hell is going on, you do feel as if there's someone scrying on you right now. There's definitely scrying going on. So, yeah, they're watching. In fact, you have a distinct feeling that they've been watching for quite a while now.
Oh man, they are probably getting popcorn ready.
And they probably
This is
already
like
have
the best
popcorn.
shit this is the best stuff they've seen in a long time.
They probably already have popcorn knowing Amadeus.
This-
Just saying.
This is like the weirdest performance interview that's going on right now. It's like going to interview for a job. They're not just asking you like how well do you work under pressure. It's like how do you work under pressure with these people?
Load gun, point gun to temple.
I turn into a bear. Okay, how do you solve other problems? Bear.
I turn into a spider.
I turn into Randy.
What about non-spider bear problems?
I can grow claws.
It's like there's non-spider bear problems.
I'm planning on becoming a bird at some point.
gotta broaden my horizons, you know.
Is immolation a valid answer?
It's fireball, a valid answer.
Is Eidolon a valid answer?
Fireball is always a valid answer. The problem is it was never the question.
It doesn't need a
Oh.
question.
It's like I've never had a student answer fireball for every question. Anyway, yeah, Rose, you can definitely tell that you are being watched, and probably have the feeling that they've been watching you this whole time, including while you were waiting.
Oh, well, good news, everyone. I think the owners of the cave have a good idea of where we're coming from by now.
What we came through the entrance. They obviously know where we came from.
I mean, they probably have an idea by now whether or not we can be constituted as a threat.
What, us?
Not good anymore.
Someone picked him up.
But before you is a long, winding stone path. It seems to have been paved a long time ago, but it's missing a few stones here and there, and it's looking weathered, and mostly probably by time, and the occasional drips of water that come from the ceiling. Up ahead, along the cave wall, probably about a couple miles away at the very least, is what looks to be a string of lights through windows that are carved into the very cavern wall itself, almost as if you're staring at a manor that was made from the very stones of the walls themselves. So it's not really separate from the wall, it's built into it, or from it. It's massive.
Well, don't know about the rest of you, but I'm keen to see who's running this joint here, if they're gonna allow us.
Yes, let's go and see what happens.
Lick 'em up, lick it up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna follow behind. Taking the lead if people are being slow.
And as you're getting deeper into the cave, you're starting to lose a lot of the natural light that came from the massive opening in the cave. And you're starting to hear more and more of the echoes of the sounds itself, echoes of the cave itself, the dripping of water, the rushing of the waterfalls. And more importantly, you're starting to smell not just water and mildew on the air, but the slight scent of incense coming from at least the direction of the manor.
What does the incense smell like? Is it like a flowery incense or?
It's almost like a burnt scent. Like that. It's not so much the flowery scent, but it's got that sort of. It's hard to explain. That almost burnt cloth smell, almost. Like it's pleasant, but at the same time a little strange.
Oh. They don't have a good taste in incense or in smells. Perhaps this is what they smell like. Rose, do you smell like burnt cloth? No, I think I've noticed that. Yeah.
No, roast actually probably smells like a bonfire or whatever you prepared it to smell like.
Well, it depends on what would you burn for a bonfire, in all honesty.
Very true.
But yeah, Tiberius is just gonna be like,
I mean, Rose could always cast inflict wounds that take on a whole other scent.
There's also a scent of cinnamon in the incense as well. So there's that. It's something that you would definitely kind of burn to keep yourself focused.
focus. I don't know this word. Tiberius doesn't either.
Okay. But yeah, that's as you're slowly approaching, so there's no guards. There's none of those weird eye statues that you had encountered previously. It's very quiet, and all you really hear is the dripping of the water in the cave. Especially coming from above. Occasionally, Rose, even you get hit with a few droplets of water that kind of sizzle against you. It's very cold water.
Ah, it's not hot.
Is it supposed to be? Right. Continue moving. Sooner or later we'll get there. And could we please make Flick stop babbling back there? Rose, say you're sorry.
Sorry for what?
For your little whatever it was with Nye that he thinks you have.
Wait, is it... Are you seriously
Obviously you hurt his feelings some way. I don't know. Maybe you two had something going before. He's taking it rather tough.
Until Naira wandered up and started talking about adventure and coin other BS, I had never had even a single utterance between the two of us. We did not know the other existed.
There you have it.
Well, you obviously seemed to recognize them when they first came in.
How come you with a straight face?
How can I recognize someone who I never even met before?
She certainly knew you.
Well, yeah, because she's in cahoots with Glacia, who has like a dossier on everyone in the plains, basically.
Then how come when she came into the tavern, you told us to look away and pretend that we didn't know they were there? That sounds like someone who has some history.
Because...
Oh, God.
I knew it!
Rose goes into facepalm mode.
We're just like, I'm done. F y'all.
Let's just continue.
Say something to make him stop babbling, because it's hurting my ears at this point, and I cannot abide by that.
Rose looks back towards where Flix and Frias are.
What are they doing?
I'm assuming we're slowly moving towards the manor.
Yes, you are. It is a couple miles away. The place is huge.
Poor Rose.
Rose is just sitting there like, how? What?
Flex. Flex, there was nothing between me and Naira.
That's not what the picture said.
I didn't even know Frias was drawing those pictures in there.
You didn't deny it. God.
Yeah, you didn't deny it.
You literally just said, if I knew they were drawing, I wouldn't have done it.
So
Alright.
you're not saying no.
What I'm saying is that whatever was between me and Naira was all business.
I don't think we made it any better.
Oh dear.
The worst part is I'm gonna end up having a fight with myself later on. I know it.
That'll be hilarious.
Oh my
I feel
god.
your pain.
The chaos.
So, hey God, no, wait, no, yes, no. But you're my muse. You can't just take another person for musing, or go to them for musing. It's against the muse contract. We had a visual contract.
Visual contract.
What?
Oh dear.
I just imagine this is like Freys is slowly walking and Flix is just like cross-legged, yelling at Rose while he's slowly walking beside the bear.
Don't walk away from me. I'm slowly going away.
I didn't do any musing with Naira. Naira didn't do any musing with me. There was no musing between the two of us.
Sorry, the language. What is the music?
What is moving?
It's amusing so far.
What the hell is a visual contract?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Wipes a
have
tear away. Are you sure?
I'm doubly sure.
You pinky promise?
Rose just gingerly brings their little finger up.
Oh, that's
I pinky promise.
That sounded so painful for him to say.
Flix immediately lightens up and gets super happy and hugs Rose.
Now here's the sad thing. I know something, and that's gonna be an awful time.
Yeah.
Also, Netflix is now in the OOC chat.
Oh
no.
no.
It's beautiful.
Yes. Oh, poor baby.
Oh,
No, you come over here. Perfect.
Is he done blubbering?
We're all good now. I mean, he couldn't muse for someone that wasn't as beautiful as me, so it's understandable. We just won't let that harlot in here anymore.
Oh. Anyway, you guys
Right.
actually reach what seems to be a large circular area with a large fountain in the center of it, kind of pouring out the same kind of green tinted water that you had seen throughout the entire cavern. And the manor itself has not really a door, more of an archway that leads into the interior itself. That's all. There's no one here waiting for you. It's incredibly quiet, and the smell of incense is incredibly strong coming from the inside.
The longest hallway that I've ever walked to get somewhere, and I've walked through the council's chambers.
But as you kind of look into the archway itself, you don't really see what you would typically see in like most sort of large manors, like a big old entryway. Instead, you see a foyer that is surrounded by walls of bookshelves. There's books all over the place. There's braziers that are kind of quietly burning and crackling, and there is large stairwells leading up into much higher floors, and kind of almost like a twisting, turning maze in of itself. Sadly, I did not have time to draw a picture for this, so you just have to deal with that for now,
It's all good.
because I don't always have the energy to make a background.
Why'd it have to be books?
There's books everywhere.
You just see Various brighten up.
And various not brighten up.
I see that Frius and Various are both happy.
It's going to be one of those people, is it?
I mean, we
There's no
came.
one-
I
there's
mean,
no
we
one
came.
waiting for you.
I mean, we came through here to look for a scholar. What were you expecting?
I don't know. There's different kinds of scholars out there. I was hoping that one would actually have, I don't know, fun in their life.
Hello?
How scholars work.
You don't hear anything. Your voice does kind of echo, but it's a little bit more muffled due to the fact that there's actual like padding on the walls, some old books and stuff like that. It is very warm and inviting in here at the very least. But there definitely doesn't seem to be anyone at the present in front of you.
Just taking a curious glance as we're coming in, like what kind of books? There's like any particular subjects or genres? Or
You can't tell. There's too many. Like we're talking in the thousands or hundreds of thousands just in this one foyer alone. And you can definitely see down other hallways, and especially up top, there's even more. It will not save you here. You see chairs all over the places in some of the side rooms, tables, but most of it is just a discombobulated mess of papers, scrolls, and books all over the place.
Man, I thought Leonard sometimes had a housekeeping problem.
Are the books sorted in a specific way, obvious or not?
No, they just seem to be in a completely chaotic disarray. Like you probably approached one of the shelves along the foyer, and you notice that there is fictional books alongside documentaries and encyclopedias alongside scrolls of Fireball.
No, the Fireball always relates.
It is very much a discombobulated mess.
Various sort of sighs. And looks around for a place they may be able to sit.
There's plenty of places, actually. There's it really depends on which way you want to go. Do you want to head upstairs? Do you want to head to one of the side rooms? There's two side rooms, both to your left and to your right. The one to the left has it kind of goes down further in and seems to lead to multiple other branching rooms, while the one to the right seems to be just an extension of the foyer with a more open area that leads in, that allows you to kind of have the open air from the cave come in, and it has kind of like a patio set up with some chairs and tables.
Probably towards the patio setup.
Okay.
Because as much as he wants to dig into that library, he also
They're
knows
all
that
over the place. Like most of the walls, if they don't have bookshelves, have shelves lined with like potion ingredients and scrolls. This stuff also looks to have collected a lot of dust, so these things have been here or being collected for a long time.
he knows, as much as he wants to dig into it, he knows that it's probably not a good idea until given permission.
What about everyone else?
Is Flix still on the bear?
That's a good question.
No, you'd be done by now.
Let me roll something for that, Tibbs.
Oh dear. That's a number.
So. Oh. That's. Tibbs, as you start leafing through this particular book, you start noticing that it has very awkward positions with two humanoid figures
Oh
throughout the entire
no.
pages.
I was gonna ask, it's not that type of book, is it? No.
You can't understand the language, but you can understand the pictures at the very least, Tibbs.
On a very special episode of Dark Side of Foundry.
Yeah, yeah, this whole book is full of them, Tibbs.
And the Kama Sutra.
Strangely,
And the
this
funny-
book is not dusty.
Actually, it is very dusty, but the book next to it isn't as much, and it's a cookbook.
Only cookbook there to begin with.
Mhm.
Yep, only cookbook.
Do you want to read the cookbook?
Take a glance at it, but one book is gone.
Okay.
Oh no.
You can make out the writing of Hassenpfeffer on the cookbook, though.
What in the world is Hassenpfeffer?
And that book also is next to a book that's in a language that you can understand, is How to Train Your Demon. There's a lot of really bizarre books on this particular shelf.
Got the book I'm interested in.
It just seems to be a complete discombobulated mess.
Hey, you
'Cause
won't
there's-
miss this one.
Yeah, because there's some books that have a language you don't understand. There's some that look like they're in picture drawings, like with wingdings kind of things. There's some books that are made of pure stone. It's just a mess.
Sam, where do we find them? This is like the send a letter thing. Are we supposed to just split up and try and find this Amadeus person? Or should we yell at the top of our lungs till they find us?
Hmm.
Uh-oh.
Mark?
Why don't we? I mean, that.
Tibbs, as you start to yell, I need to look at the
How'd
stage.
you know I was
Hold on.
going to do that?
I know what you're gonna do, but here's the thing. Okay, where is it? I need to find what the actual spell does.
Is there a shush spell?
Oh, silence.
Silence, exactly.
I have it.
So, as you start to try to yell, in fact, you all kind of see this, but you all suddenly are overcome with the feeling of being deafened as you see Tiberius try to yell, but you don't hear anything, and you actually see a rather short figure now kind of standing at the doorway with his hand held up in a snap motion.
Silk?
You can barely kind of make out the figure because the light here is really dull. They're a little bit tall. I would say that they're at least a foot or so taller than you are, Tibbs, especially past your ears. And the best way I can describe it is elven looking, but their ears seem to droop a little bit. And they're wearing robes that are way too big for them, as well as glasses that probably take up most of their face. And they look a little curious, but at the same time, there's a deadpan look on their face. And in another motion, the silence spell fades, and you can once again hear.
I knew it would work. You must be Amadeus.
I am, but I would appreciate if you don't yell inside my house. I
That's quite a bit.
know where everything is. You need to give some more patience. It is a virtue after all.
What's a virtue?
A positive trait.
Sorry, I'll edit that.
Tiberius, please don't be rude.
So that's Tiberius, I see. Well, your name certainly carries a little bit of rumorous weight.
Was? Oh, I'm a Vermont. I guess that does make sense.
I wouldn't say it's a great thing. And he'll kind of look over the rest of you. His eyes will settle on you, Various. It's like, then that means you are Mr. Various, right?
Yes.
And Rose, the fire primordial under Leonard's tutelage.
Yeah, you're on the nose there.
Mhm. And then we have a Mr. Flex. You were just here visiting the landlord recently, weren't you?
I was.
Hmm.
How are you?
And then he'll kind of look to you, Frias, for a few seconds, and you kind of see a brow raise. It's like, I've been expecting you too, Miss Frias.
Probably at this point, she'll obviously turn back and give a small bow.
Well, I'll be perfectly honest, you did catch me at an inopportune time. I'm terribly sorry for the wait. I had my friends come and investigate a disturbance down in my labyrinth. Pay in mind it's there for a reason to... You know how it is. Usually when you're famous somewhere, there's always people out to get you.
Right.
But... no doubt you're here for a reason.
I
But
think
Nudge, nudge, various, nudge, shove forward, kick in the rump.
he'll kind of raise a finger up. It's like, not here. Please, follow me in. And he'll turn around and start walking out of the room.
Walking.
Following.
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 And he'll actually start heading up the rather steep and large staircase at this point. You're amazed that he doesn't trip over the robes that he wears. Oh, tips. God, why?
Well, we rolled that random number, so
I know. But, he easily leads you up the massive flight of stairs, and in front of you is another long hallway that he starts to lead you down. As the hallway leads further back, it becomes less lined with books and more cavernous. So the walls look more like they were chiseled and broken away from the stone itself to create a natural hallway. And eventually it leads into much further branching rooms, and they take you to a side room that looks to be kind of circular in shape, a little smaller than the rooms before. But there is on one side of the room, flowing natural water source that's going into a pond. But there is a setup of a nice round table that's kind of low to the ground with cushions and pillows all around it. There is a burning fire at the very center of the table, almost like a cooking pot in a way. But more importantly, off to the side, it looks to be a small kitchenette in a way. There's not really any food or anything around here. It just looks to be lots of different containers, cases, and teapots. But much like the rest of the manor, there are books strewn about all over the place.
Various slowly takes a seat.
stand up for a second, Various. I want that pillow. I'll give you this one. It's fine. That was just red. I need red pillow.
Amadeus will kind of look over you and all, and it's like, please, make yourself comfortable. And he'll actually go over toward the kitchenette and start preparing something in one of the teapots.
I'm waiting, Various.
Fine. And he chucks the pillow at Tiberius's head.
Make me a ranged attack. So 1d20 plus your dex modifier.
So in other words, a 1d20.
Yes.
And catches it or attempts to.
Well, we'll see. Let's see if he hits for the first of all. It does not hit. It goes soaring over your head. So, overshot.
Various, you really need to work on your aim. Use your green pillow.
Oh,
He
there's
takes-
tons of pillows. They're
No.
kind of surrounding it, the whole table itself.
You needed the red pillow that Various was going to sit on. It's dreadfully important. You don't understand.
And
feel
they're
like
in
this
all
is a
sorts
hint.
of colors. There's all types of colors. There's some that have different patterns on them. Again, they all seem like they're from different cultures, different time periods, all over the place. Rose and Flix, what are you guys doing? As you're watching Various chuck a pillow at Tibbs and miss horribly.
Flick is giggling and then waiting happily for tea because he loves the wind tea.
Mm-hmm.
Rose will just grab a random pillow and sit down next to Various.
Okay.
Let's just go next to Rose.
I'm just picturing Furious just now has a pillow fort.
How do I take it?
Amadeus does return to the table, and you see him actually affix the teapot over the little fire that's kind of crackling in the center of the table itself, kind of in this big metal dish. And you'll kind of affix it to a small hook that's held up with some bars, and you'll get that set up. I do have some snacks, if you would all prefer that, or if you would just like tea, that's fine.
What kind of snacks?
Wind snacks, mostly, considering where I live.
I'm a little peckish. I'm sure everyone else here could eat a little bit.
Oh, jeez.
But tell me, why have you come here?
Various is literally going to hand gesture to Various.
Seem to be gesturing quite fervently to your friend constantly.
That was his idea to come here.
Our
What?
Rose nods over to Various. Our friend here believes we may be able to shed some light on a curious artifact you came across.
Really? Because I would have assumed
Pride, don't forget that.
I would have assumed it was because of the disturbances currently going on in the plains. I already know about what you've done already, all of you.
Well,
There's a bizarrely knowing look in his eyes.
it's partially my idea, partially the one with the strange hair and odd look to him. Because when I brought up a certain element to your, I guess, friend, he mentioned that you had more experience with them.
Depends on the element.
His
Well,
ears
very
pulled
still.
back.
Philippines, honestly, he knows.
Fine.
You don't know that for sure, Tibbs.
Tibbs doesn't care whether he's
Exactly.
just like, just get it over with. Oh,
Mhm. But Amadeus does kind of move from the small kitchenette to one of the cupboards and takes a few things out from, looks like they seem to be covered plates, and he'll kind of bring them over. There's at least 3 of them. One of them has these little kind of caramel looking crackers on them that are wrapped with a green sheet of something. Another one seems to have these little white cubes that seem to be dusted with a weird little peanut powder, and another one that seems to have what looks to be rice puff cereal that's stuck into little bars with almost a chocolate covered coating.
And yoink one of those chocolate covered ones.
He just kind of sets the plates down on the table, so you're free to take them.
Mage hand.
And yeah, you're kind of able to easily pluck one from the plate. It's a little square of this little puffed rice cereal that seems to be held together with some sort of chocolatey, marshmallowy goo.
I think what the moon rabbits were giving.
No.
And Flix will nibble away.
Mm-hmm. The caramel-looking, cracker-looking ones are a bit more savory. They taste like a salty kind of soy flavor. While the other two are indeed sweet. One has sort of a peanut flavor with kind of a chewy, gooey texture to it, and the other one is crunchy, kind of like a Rice Krispie treat, but that has a chocolatey undertone.
The element in question is negative.
So you know about them. I see. Negative is a curious specimen, as you might kind of understand. It's not considered part of the whole, if that makes any sense to you.
I understand. I've met what I can assume are their leaders?
Let me guess. Zenith, the one with the bird face, and Astra, the one who puts too much emphasis on their adoration with the color gold and red.
I hit on that one.
I'm sorry.
Panic look to Flix.
What's wrong with gold and red?
You tried to hit on a primordial. Why?
Well, I didn't really try. I mean, it was working, and then it got confusing.
I mean,
And then I realized, oh, right, it's a primordial. They don't care about that kind of thing.
no.
So I decided to
other
go
than-
drinking instead.
Yeah, they don't care about mortal desires.
So you're not primordial then?
Me, no, I am just a scholar. That's all. A long-lived scholar, as most elves are, of course.
What's an elf?
He kind of reaches up and kind of tugs at the ears at the side of his head.
Yes, you know you have small ears. What's an elf?
I'd say the best way to explain it is a humanoid creature that lives for a long time and tend to be more adept in magic than humans.
Thyrius kind of looks at Phrase. Damn, I should have listened to that talk about humans. Yes, of course. Humanoid, yes.
You've met two humans, Leo and Styx.
Those
That's
are
right.
humans.
Tibbs' gear, like hamster, starts rolling in his head.
My hamster's been dead for years.
It got revived just for this moment.
Damn you, necro hamster.
But we do come in regards to a finding answers to how to free one of them. There's also a few other things, if you wouldn't mind us asking questions about.
Oh, I wouldn't mind. Pay in mind again, you have caught me at a very strange time considering the work I've been doing, as I'm pretty sure you've seen exactly what's happening here.
What work are you doing exactly? I mean, we're out there trying to fix the problems, and you're researching them, I guess?
You can say that.
I did say that. I'm trying to get more information.
I did have some questions of my own too about the situation in hand, but I'll defer to Various. They between us, he was the more pressing one. So I'll let him have the floor for now.
Well, let's start with one question at a time, and then we'll work our way from there. And he'll take out several small teacups and begin to pour tea for each and every one of you. Okay, Tips. And she'll kind of just pour this, it's kind of a soft green in color, and she'll kind of place one in front of each of you before he sets the kettle back onto the fire.
I'm sure your friends told you about the ring I showed them.
They have. I've also been observant on my own.
Do you happen to know ways of undoing such bindings?
It's hard. It is very difficult magic you're dealing with, Mr. Various. You were talking about a magical prison that was built to house not just magic, but a soul. These types of prisons are not easily cracked, if at all. Usually, in most cases, at least on the more basic level, you require a key created by the creator of the prison to essentially unlock it. But I have a feeling that this particular creation circumvents that in some way. I wouldn't be able to know without studying it myself. And that could take anywhere from days to months to, and from what I heard from Styx, years. What you have there is a very complex prison. Pay in mind, that doesn't mean that the poor individual stuck in there is stuck for good. There's no doubt ways that you just need to discover. But at the very least, something can be done. The problem is I don't know what without looking further into it.
There was one occurrence back in Fire where
Go on.
the individual in there was able to manifest their presence for a time outside the ring and actually assist us.
And was that done by the ring itself, or?
I'm unsure. Because my original intention was just to do the usual delve into the ring, and instead it pulled them out.
Now, you said you go into the ring. Can you elaborate on that?
If I say a certain command word, and I assume I fall asleep or unconscious, or hopefully not dead. I certainly don't feel dead. But there's another place entirely that it seems like I'm not. And
Okay. Well, from what it sounds like, is that not only does this act as a prison, but that's also a means of controlling the individual. So we have a magic prison on top of a command spell, and from the sounds of it, a planar shift as well. Though it's not your physical body that seems to be being taken away, it's more your mind, which is difficult magic to pull off in the first place. You got quite a layer of a prison there, Mr. Various. Whoever made that obviously meant to keep whatever's inside of it inside.
now, are there ways to circumvent certain things, loopholes?
There is, but again, I would need to research it myself. And to research something like that, one would have to break into its magical code, which has its own risks. It could damage the person who's doing the research. It could hurt the person inside of it. It could go completely nuclear and blow up.
Best reason that you should give the ring to him, Various.
He kind of looks at you for a moment, Tibbs, with a raised brow. It's like, You seem
No.
quite eager to get rid of it.
Wouldn't you be if it could explode and kill you?
That's just jealous.
Yes.
There's a knowing smile on his face.
Tibbs, are you
I'm
familiar?
very-
Are you familiar with the term "dead man's trigger"?
As in a spell that goes off when someone dies in an event to kill everyone around them?
Exactly.
Yes. Why do you ask?
Well, like Amadeus was proposing, most likely this thing is only going to go off in our faces if someone tries to poke inside it. Otherwise, it's going to remain inert.
And you can actually see Amadeus nodding as you say this, Rose. It's not uncommon with most very powerful magical artifacts for them to have some sort of dead man's trigger. Mostly to prevent people from recreating them, as you may understand. Wizards, scholars, sorcerers are very protective of their secrets. And it's obvious that, at least from what I can tell with how many layers this ring has upon it, someone is trying to make sure that's not undone. And if it is, then it could be cataclysmic.
Right. What I don't quite understand, though, is Various was able to use a command word at least to call his friend out into our existence for a time, then. Wouldn't that in itself perhaps have a loophole leaning in it?
Not necessarily, because did this individual have to return to the ring eventually anyways? Were they
True.
forced back? Because if they are being forced back, then that acts more as a binding or a summoning. So not only do we have a prison keeping someone's soul bound, we have the ability to command said soul and bring it to form. Someone obviously created this for the individual to be used. After all, what better way for a power to be used than to keep it captive? I've seen such relics before, often done with familiars, but never a living soul. Well, then again, it's not. He seems to be muttering something to himself as he seems to think about something like, no, it sounds about right. When you've lived as long as I have, you've seen a lot of things. And I'll be perfectly honest, something of this caliber existing does not surprise me.
Right. Now, you were suggesting as well that, from what it sounds like, if you were to have this, for a time, have this ring in your possession, that you may be able to ascertain more about the nature of this, the binding.
Yes. But that would also require you to give it up to me, and I don't think your friend is willing to part ways with it.
Paris?
Mm,
I thought so. And I'm not going to force you to.
he seems very reluctant because he doesn't know this person. But at
Fair.
the same time, it's like, if they can figure out a way to unbind it. And he finally looks at you guys.
Various, you know just as much as any of us does. This isn't your wheelhouse.
If we were to enter some kind of partnership in order for Various to talk to you about the different changes in the ring, could you then use that to try and help whatever's stuck inside there?
Ah, I think I might have a few sending stones around here somewhere. I just have to dig them up. You know what a sending stone is, right?
Of course I do. Nope.
He kind of deadpans at you. It's like, all that magical talent and you have no idea how to use sending.
in this
He
plane.
obviously
Magic is
seems to be taking a crack at you there, Tibbs.
I was gonna say, well, obviously not in this place. Magic is weird here.
Fair, but sending is quite a basic level spell for even the most childish of wizards.
I have tried casting prestidigitation to clean my ears, and I've wound up with fur growing out of places I do not want to mention. So no, magic is not working properly.
Various raises his voice and goes, several spells that were considered simple here, were not quite exactly encouraged where we're from. Finding a familiar is one. Apparently, whatever this sending spell is another.
You can kind of see him think for a few seconds. It's like, think of it like this. Sending can be used in a multitude of ways, and it's often used for sending messages over long distances. In the case of a sending stone, it is an object that has been enchanted with the sending spell upon it to connect to another stone to act as a two-way communication device. This tends to be used quite often here outside of letters because, well, technology doesn't work here, so we have to rely on magic.
What does that do for you, Various?
That would work. I can share my observations that way.
I'll have to find them. They're probably buried in who knows what here.
I would like to also bring up something that Frias here was looking for.
That's not.
Oh, I was going to ask when you were done.
Go ahead.
I have a friend who seems to have... Well, I came a little more willingly after them. They seem to got sucked in through whatever they did. But they have been leaving me clues behind. And so
I
far...
know exactly who you speak of, Miss Frias.
Have you seen them?
For a time, I did. But they have since moved on.
You would not happen to know where they've left their last note, or given you a hint. It was awfully vague.
And what was that hint, Miss Frias?
Your next clue rests in a place of endless sky, under the hands of man who is not really a man.
And you see a smile come across Amadeus' face. It's like, well, I would like to happily inform you that your next clue, Miss Frias, is auditory.
Interesting.
Indeed. Regardless, your friend did stay here for a short while before moving on. Much like those around you, he was investigating the happenstances of what is currently going on in the plains, the issues of wild magic, as well as his own personal research. Though I will say this right now, this clue is rather simplistic, as it is look for the eye of the storm. That is all I'm afraid that he left for you.
She gives a few nods. Thank you. I'm glad to know that he is at least doing well.
To be fair, I have not heard from him in some time, so I cannot say for sure if he is well or not. If you find him.
All I have are these notes, so you're doing a lot better than I am.
And bear in mind that was months ago.
Various sort of squints a little bit at Amadeus.
Mm-hmm.
And looks at towards the others.
And Amadeus oddly notices your glance, Various, as you kind of look back. You notice that he's looking directly at you. And there's something about him, like there's an uncanny valley, at least to his eyes. And you can't quite put a finger on it, however. But it kind of gives you that weird feeling. And you're not sure if that feeling's always been there or if you just only noticed it.
I have a question of my own too, if no one else does at the moment.
Of course, the floor is open.
Well, we've already mentioned about the rain and the negative individual in them. There was also a matter that back in Fire, there was an unnatural construct which seemed to exude the same type of energy as negative.
You don't say. Well, what sort of construct is this? Do you have a description, or...
Freys will look over at Flix, who probably still has the book.
Yeah, you're looking at it.
Flix is probably like, I'm never giving anybody my book again.
Excuse me, Mr. Oakwish.
Yeah, what? Yes?
Would you mind turning near towards the end with the creature and at least showing Amadeus?
Oh, yes, certainly. He's just gonna flip the page over.
Okay, and I'll kind of lean over to kind of take a look at it, and you see a brow raise up as they seem to curiously scan over the image itself. But the way their eyes motion almost looks like a printer going over the image. It's a very odd twitching motion. But they seem to nod after what seems to be about 10 seconds before leaning back. It's like, very curious. I've never come across anything like that before. And you said you found it in the plane of fire.
Yeah, it was deep below it. It was apparently the source of the wild magic that was distorting the plane for a time.
If I were to be more specific, we actually found, I believe it was a fake castle. And when we went to a certain point, it pretty much teleported us to wherever the plane that this thing was, because after we have dealt with it and left, there was no way back in.
Very interesting. It almost sounds like you were displaced, not so much in the plane of fire, but elsewhere.
I'm not going to mention the dragon thing. Yes, some mentions of the story aren't worth it.
Dragon?
Yes, a big black thing, breathing green goo and going into the ceiling trying to eat us.
Dragons are quite uncommon here in the plains, especially non-elemental ones. And what color was it?
The color doesn't matter. It was based off of... Oh no, I lost my notes.
You lost your notes because Flix has them.
Flix has them?
Oh jeez. Going a black swamp dragon, but it seemed to be altered, as if it was brought back and made something else.
Considering the nature of negative, that's not too unlikely. Negative tends to encompass many different aspects of things such as negative emotions, necromancy, negative energy, and the like. So, no
But
doubt
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Though I will add, the moment we... No, not Jeff. The moment we dealt with said creature, it seemed as if the castle were to return to its modern time. The castle was awfully weird. We will say that. Everything was alive and looking rather well. Once the creature was dealt with, it was immediately run down.
You call I suppose where that was fiery does count as alive and well.
Yes, those black things showing up too.
From the sounds, it almost sounds like you dealt with the anchor point. No doubt, whatever was holding that area to the plane of fire once it was destroyed undid all of the damage that it had caused originally, which would explain why this castle had vanished.
However, there is one more strange thing about it. And he looks over to Rose. The castle.
What about the castle?
You recognized it,
Oh,
and it
right,
seemed to
right.
be in a quite different time period than it should have been.
It's not unheard of for wild magic to pull things from different times. It's actually quite common. I mean, considering what you've also gone through, Mr. Various. I'm sure the little bit of wild magic that you've endured yourself has
Word,
helped.
word. It wasn't just another time. It was another lifetime.
Mm.
You see that Various is squinting at Amadeus.
And he's just got a simple smile on his face.
The point though I was making by bringing that up, the negative ring, the negative anchor point. There's an awful lot of focus on negative. That can't be just a coincidence.
I'm starting to think so myself. Then again, my own research here into the plane of wind and what's been happening here seems to be the exact opposite. We've been having a considerable burst of positive energy.
I will say that when I met with those two,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't seem to know much about this.
I'm not going to be very surprised. They tend to be more focused on their survival than investigating if anyone happens to be trying to exploit the magic from their elements. As you may understand, they're not established here in the plains, therefore the element they represent runs wild without any means to essentially channel it. There's no real control, and which means it's easy to exploit by external forces. That's why I'm starting to wonder if it's more than just negative and positive at work here, considering there is one other chaotic element currently.
No.
And he nods at this.
I like that. Just no.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was we had a rather energetic no storm rode through the Foundry when we first all joined up.
You see, null is a very strange element, and it may actually explain where the castle came from. Null is not the absence of an element. It is time itself. Which means, if you think about it in a way, the chaotic elements that you're dealing with are not only positive and negative emotions, but time itself.
Nothing's happening.
Everything's happening. Also, that sigh wasn't directed at you. It was just something going on here. But at the same time, it's like,
But jumping back a moment to what you were saying between negative and positive there. So the fact that they're so unheard of, so incognito, means that whatever threats can be used with their powers can go undetected by the populace then.
Exactly. Which might very well be why most of the lords are at a loss of what to do at the present. I'm actually surprised Leonard had enough information to track down at least the source.
And no, basically, for most intents and purposes, no longer being existing, or rather not being contained to where it was before then, means that makes
Holy shit, Tibbs. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Nothing's happening.
It's actually, wow, holy shit. Okay. So, yeah, Amadeus seems to be listening rather intently to you, but I need to do something real quick with Tibbs.
Nothing's happening. It's the stream. Tiberius is not a threat.
Do not pay attention to the white rabbit in the room.
You were all talking. That's all I'm going to say.
actually, I know the better way to do this. So I'm pulling you into another channel.
Uh-oh. Help.
Well, howdy.
Hey.
I wonder if they're ever going to get that pizza order sorted out.
I mean, we've only been waiting, what, about 2 months on that now?
Give or take. Yeah, I was literally going to wait until everyone was done with their stuff. Everyone was about to walk out, and then, oh, hey. If you know so much about me,
Various is gonna be like, hey, I remember that clue you told us. And I'm really curious.
looks like we're going to the quote-unquote eye of the storm.
Yeah, but here's the thing. What was the clue?
The clue was look for the eye of the storm.
No, the previous one.
Oh. The man that isn't a man. And then looked who talked, and I just figured, oh, he's probably using magic to hide himself, so I didn't even bother.
Dun dun dun.
Hey, he's helping. He can get a free pass for now. Though Freya's will be asking for that book back at some point, Flex.
Yeah, when he's trying admiring himself. So maybe never.
Oh no.
No,
Flix
he'll
has
give it
to
back.
get a. This
He'll
is
give
how
it back. Get him a mirror and he'll be good.
I'm I love how the scene of I love the idea of just Freus as a bear is carrying Flix on their back and carrying Tibbs by the back of their coat as Flix
Yeah.
as Flix is like sobbing and
Oh, no,
Tibbs is
no,
like
We don't.
Tibbs was down when Flick started crying, unfortunately.
aw.
We don't deserve Arius. We're too good for that.
Oh, you mean she's too good for us?
That part, yeah.
Barry's gonna be the best dungeon bomb.
Hey, at least your bear shape finally got use out of it.
Well, I also bullied a wall into crumbling with the best tag team duo partner.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm going to refrain from using that meme.
Okay, this is a little bit frightening, considering how short the dream sequences were. And how long Tibbs has been away. The claw.
Tibbs is busy talking to the manager. He's trying to get a refund for the pizza.
He's getting very impatient.
Tibbs doing screwing the rest of us over.
Yeah.
He's a very misunderstood good boy. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
To be fair, he has gone through a lot. And is dealing with a lot, icily.
Oh no.
What?
There was a roll. I guess trying to get percentage of refund. It's not a very good percentage.
No.
I guess they're getting a tip even though they didn't do a great job.
There's also one other theory that Tibbs is just adding more onto the order. Like, Not only do they want the pizza, they also want the cheese sticks, they want the wings, and the
Oh,
2-liter.
You want to know how you get a Domino's one topping pizza topping for free? You order up a Domino's one topping pizza. When they ask you for one topping, what topping you want on your one topping Domino's pizza, you tell them you want another Domino's one topping pizza on top of the. I'm not going through that whole thing.
That's amazing.
Is this gonna become like, yo dog, I heard you like pizza?
No, the story goes you basically get it so it's a pizza that has 70 pizzas on top of it. But then when they ask you how to pay for it, you go, wait, hold on, I'll go to Home Depot, get a fridge, which is $399, but you'll tell them you'll pay them in pizzas. So that you get the box from the refrigerator to put the pizzas in the refrigerator box, and then pay for the pizzas with the fridge. And then when you go to bring the pizzas to pay for at Home Depot, you snag the one off the top, and it's like, it was
And
such
we're
a
back.
horrible.
You
Oh.
know what? Know what? You heard nothing about committing fraud with Home Depot. It was just everything's copacetic here.
As you guys start to look around, as you've been questioning Amadeus, you realize that Tiberius seemed to have gone from a rather neutral expression to one that looks a little paranoid, like in a split second, like almost as if he was suddenly replaced by something else.
Wait, what? Excuse me? Can you repeat that?
Yeah, it's almost as if you know how something whenever you switch out a frame, how it goes from one thing to immediately something completely different. That's kind of what his face just did. So it looks like he almost glitched out in reality.
Who did this?
Tibbs.
Damn it,
Oh.
Tibbs. Being abducted by aliens.
No.
And
Ooh,
right now, instead of, and previously when you had been talking to Amadeus, he had a very blank, deadpan stare, like at Amadeus, and not really reacting to much. And now suddenly he's reacting, and he looks paranoid,
Can
almost
I?
like a light switch.
Wait,
Can I?
both of them are paranoid?
Tibbs.
Oh, only Tibbs. Okay.
Tibbs.
Can I do any sort of check to see if Tibbs has been like charmed or anything like that?
I would say Arcana if you're looking for charmed, Insight if you're looking for something he's done.
Let's see here.
Oh, I don't have it prepared. Damn it.
Actually, I'm gonna do insight as more of a general inquiry.
Are you trying to do this right? So you're kind of sitting there, Rose, and you're squinting. It's like, why did he suddenly shift from one to another? And then you realize he's done something. You're not exactly sure what, but he's done something. He's too dummy thick to fit through the vents.
I can't assassinate people. The clap of my ass cheek could loosen my presence.
But yeah, Rose, you definitely feel like Tibbs has done something. You're not sure what, but he's done something.
Tibbs, is there something you care to share with the rest of the class?
These snacks are delicious.
You realize this is the first thing he said in like 10 minutes.
Absolutely divine.
What spells do I have? Only one thing to help, but it won't work.
Rose is going to look over to Various then.
Yeah, they can tell that you're a little nervous there, Tibbs.
That's fine.
And you just kind of bite one of the little senbei crackers in half and just start idly chewing and just staring at Amadeus.
Yep.
It's like, it tastes good, but at the same time, suspicion.
Is your compatriot having some kind of moment here we should know about?
I'm actually going to roll something for Amadeus. Okay, so he's kind of watching you, Tibbs. He's not entirely sure why you're staring so intently at him, but he's kind of got a brow raised.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Tiberius is just eye locking poor Amadeus right now.
Is his eyes like super wide or something like that, or are they squinting?
They're squinting, just to say enough that he knows that they're squinting.
Mm-hmm.
Jealous of him now?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Tiberius, what is your spell save DC? I just need to know for the Arcana check.
16. Damn it! Meter beat!
Yeah, beat. Okay. Various, as you're kind of watching this, just trying to realize something, you notice that there is a lingering feeling of illusion magic.
What did you do, Tibbs?
I ate some of these delicious snacks, listening to you prattle on about negative and positive and... What was that last one?
I'm not stupid. What did you do?
Why do you blame me for everything?
Yes, because usually it is you. Now, what did you do?
I'm quite curious myself, Mr. Tiberius. You should know that there's some things that don't need to be known or found.
Did he get something that gave him true sight?
No. No.
Nothing, just thinking about things about the past and realizing that perhaps there's more to it than I thought.
I'd say roll deception.
Oh, I'm a Viking at that.
Yeah, he's...
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Tibbs seems pretty confident in his words. Very confident in his words.
He even gives that charismatic smile.
And for that moment, it almost looks like the paranoia that he previously put on display had vanished, and just gives you that charismatic smile. It's like, yeah, it's fine. I didn't do anything wrong.
You see various sort of, but slowly turns back to the conversation.
We were saying about working together.
I didn't mention anything about that.
I did, and apparently you didn't listen. I said if we worked together and did the whole communicating back and forth, we can get this pride fellow out of the ring, but it'll take time and blah, 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 blah.
I have a feeling you weren't listening, Mr. Tiberius, but I expect that from you.
Slow smile.
There's a very knowing smile right back at you.
Anyways, if you're done doing whatever, there was one other thing I wanted to elaborate on. Amadeus, you said you had been seeing an increase in the use of positive energy, as it were, within this plane. Then,
Correct.
so if negative is more along the lines of, necromancy, dead, that sort of thing, then what would you say would be looking out for as far as the effects of positive here?
Positive is a strange element. For some, it is the expression of life, good emotions, good feelings, but as you know, even too much of that is dangerous. Let's just say that there have been people going missing here, but they have been turning up as statues, frozen in time.
Sorry, statues?
Yes. And the worst part is that some people who have traveled, the reason why most of the air carts have not been deployed lately, is many of these people have been seen traveling and then appearing just anywhere else in the plane of wind as a statue. Completely devoid of life, completely pure and white, no color, nothing, as if it was drained out of them.
And you're sure it's not some enthusiastic mason doing this?
No, they're too lifelike.
That's disturbing.
The question is that we don't know where these people have gone that have caused this. And of course, there's been a insane number of storms and surges that have been happening as well, as you can tell by the storm churning outside my own home.
Are you aware if there's been a particular concentration of these disappearances happening, somewhere in the plains, like any sort of location where it's been happening most often?
In the past few months, not really. It seemed to be almost random, but in the past week, there seem to be more and more disappearances happening around. They seem to be happening primarily around the Windlord's temple, which has many of us worried.
Is the Windlord themselves aware of these disappearances? Have they themselves been taking any action?
She has been, yes. But she doesn't know what to do. At this point, she's actually been forced to flee her temple because the storms have gotten so bad.
So the Lord or Lady, as you were, is not present right now?
Not in her own temple, no. She has chosen to roost elsewhere in the plains for now until the issue passes.
We've dealt with one. What's another one under our belts?
Yes, but we were invited to that one. This one, not so much.
You'll
Would
find
they-
that Baxir is not as open as Leonard, sadly.
Who says we need their permission? We're saving the realm.
You all know that you were dealing with a massive dragon, correct?
The what?
Another dragon.
Lady Maxir is not a primordial, you see. She is a special breed of dragon created by wind primordials to act as their acting leader, as they tend to be too carefree and lazy to govern themselves.
And let me guess. In order to get in a word with her or to gain her favor, we have to go through you.
Not me, I'm afraid.
That's much better. I mean, yes, who would we go through then?
She does have an advisor, but at present they don't welcome outsiders with everything that's happening.
Is there any place that actually does around here? Besides, we have Rose. Rose can go speak to them. He's from the fire plane, right?
Flix is going to adjust his cravat.
Oh no.
If you want a way to see the luscious lady, what's her name?
Maxir.
That's not a good sign!
Please tell me that was in character.
That's not Flix, that's me.
Yeah, it's Baxir.
Oh,
Vexir. I'm like, I just had it and completely forgot it. Lady Vexir then allowed me to work my magic.
A literal term?
I was just here like 2 weeks ago.
Ah, yes, you showed up before the
So it's perfect.
so 2 weeks ago, means you were here before the Wind Temple became overwhelmed by a hurricane.
But she still loved me, so.
Hmm. Well, you would have to first find her. Not even know I know where her current roost is.
we may need to talk amongst ourselves.
Hmm.
I don't think that would matter, Various, but yes, we should. Glare.
There's one slightly less serious matter that I would like to ask about.
Of course.
Where Tiberius and I are from, dragons aren't exactly common.
Mm-hmm.
Do you happen to have a book about fire dragons?
Now, there's several different types about that. There's, of course, the elemental breeds that you find here, which are common pets, as well as the different breeds those are themselves. There are outsiders, which are various different types of dragons as well, depending on which university you visit. You have to be a slight bit more specific, I'm afraid.
He huffs at Tiberius and And pulls off his pack
Mhm.
to show what's inside.
And Amadeus will kind of walk on over to you to take a look at it and kind of look at the oval shaped pack and kind of look over it, and then he'll kind of open the top a little bit, just kind of gently tug the pull string to kind of look at the egg. It's like, oh, one of these. I do have a book on this somewhere. This, I believe, is one of the scaled breeds too. Primarily vegetarian, but they're omnivorous. They tend to be flyers and utilized as mounts often for the cavalry of the fire plane. I'm surprised you got a hold of one.
He gives a little smug look to Tiberius.
Now they get big fast, and they also tend to breathe fire even after hatching, so you may need to look into some fireproof clothing.
Well, I was looking into new clothes.
Well, it shouldn't be too hard. The Foundry tends to be quite a place to go shopping.
And he looks to the others to see if they have any last minute things they want to ask about.
There was I do have one other thing. And to be perfectly honest, it has, at least for the moment, little to do with the other matters we brought up, and is, I would say, at least 70% more of a selfish question.
Indeed.
Because you seem to have, from at least understanding from what Leonard told me, that you have perhaps more knowledge than even most other primordials do about how it is we operate, our the mechanisms that govern us.
Oh, and there are quite a few many, but I'm afraid I can't always speak of them. There are some things that cannot be spoken, at least not here.
Well, do you at least... Are you least aware of, or do you have... have you ever heard of primordials being able to regain memories of their former lives?
And there's a nod of his head, and it's like, that's actually not too uncommon. Typically, those who undergo a very traumatic death and are reformed tend to lose memories of their previous life that eventually are brought back through further traumatic experiences, especially in the younger ones who haven't had time to formulate new memories. It's not too uncommon, though it can be quite traumatic, I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure as someone with your training like yourself, it's obvious that I haven't been around the block comparatively all that long just yet.
Which is perfectly okay. Not everyone's going to be as old as Madaract or myself.
What I'm wondering, though, is that are we able... I mean, what do you think I would be able to eventually regain all my memories?
At the very least, you'd be able to regain at least most of the memories from your last life. Not the ones before, I'm afraid. A soul can only hold so much. Eventually, those memories, if you do recover them, will begin to fade with time as they are replaced with new ones of this life, as is natural.
Right.
Though, having to trigger and find those memories, well, you'd have to search them out yourself then. Though from the sounds of it, that castle you had found had triggered some. Am I right?
That is correct.
And what sort of memories did you remember?
Rose kind of gives a wary glance over the rest of the party, maybe lingering a little bit longer on Flix then, and then looks back over to Amadeus.
Flix is watching intently.
I've so far come to realize that for a time, I was in the... I guess you could say I was under the heel of the Fae for a time. And it's by their hands why I'm this way now.
Flick was crushed.
Your
Do you
Fae friend
know
seems
you?
a little. I'll admit, your Fae friend seems quite dramatic at this.
Right, it's... I'm not entirely sure myself yet how the relationship came to be, but I do know that I was serving them.
I'm
Until
not too
things-
surprised. The Fae
until-
have a long reach, and they have various different types as well. Though the types you might find here in the plains tend to be more dangerous than anything else. Especially when you deal with
Look at
gentry.
Flick's dangerous?
Is that ghost?
That's why I would recommend at least dealing with those that are not your little friend here with extreme caution.
Noted.
I'd even say be wary of Auntie as well. As nice as she may come off, she is a vindictive spirit. And trust me, I know that firsthand.
Right, and I'm sorry. There was one more thing that came to mind here. I know you said that you had your own research you were occupied with. Then, do you
So-
have?
Oh, sorry.
Have you heard of? I've just been dabbling a little bit myself about being able to craft magic from the abilities of other creatures, like adapting them into magical forms.
Well, it seems you know blue magic, don't you? Yes, I'm well aware of it. In fact, I have quite a few multiple tomes depicting creatures of the plains and their various magics if you would like to borrow one.
That would actually be quite useful, yes.
It's not very commonly practiced here, I'll admit. So to see more of it is quite refreshing.
But yeah, if you're willing to lend this tome to me, then I'll make sure it is utilized in safe hands.
I do have one stipulation, though. It is the only book I currently own on the subject, as traveling to that particular place or receiving anything in regards to its particular meaning are very rare. I would prefer if the book was returned to me eventually, hopefully in the same condition it is lent out.
No, of course, that's quite understandable.
So, what I'm getting is I need to at least get you lot 2 sending stones, and at the very least a tome on blue magic, as well as a tome on raising a wyvern.
And more of this tea, please. It's absolutely delicious.
This is a green tea, actually, a specialty of the wind plane in particular. The tea leaves that are grown here tend to be a bit more rich in flavor than anywhere else. Though, in comparison to the teas of Earth, this is nothing.
Earth? Like dirt?
Earth is more than just dirt, pay in mind. It is plants, it is crystals, it is ores, it is everything that makes up the ground you walk on. In fact, it's actually kind of why the Earth Lord and the Wind Lord are constantly at odds. I'd recommend not bringing up Catherine to Vexir if you happen to meet her. Or vice versa.
Noted. More tea, please.
And he'll indeed pour you more tea, and it's like, well, you're free to enjoy the room as I will go find the tomes that you have requested and probably find the sending stones wherever I stored those away. This place is always such a mess. I have all the time in the world, but I can never find the time to clean.
A common problem for geniuses, I guess.
I wouldn't call myself a genius, just simply one who has a lot of time.
Maybe if we deal with whatever is causing the wild magic, maybe at least I could come back and at least help with some of the sorting.
He kind of looks at you a little stupend, kind of that look of like, really? And he kind of briefly looks around. Even this room is an absolute mess. You can barely imagine what the rest of the manor is like. I think you'll be fine, considering the fact that it might take longer than your average lifespan, Miss Frias.
She'll give a nod and just... Oh, my brain stopped.
Brain.exe stop working.
Yeah, basically something about, like, the offer is still out there or something.
Mm-hmm. But he'll set the tea kettle down. It's like, I'll go find those books for you, if you'll excuse me. And he'll leave the room.
What a lovely individual.
I still want to know what you did.
I merely sat here listening to you blather on. Excuse me if I got bored.
Anyways, my consideration is we can either go through official channels, investigate this ourselves without preparation, or we can potentially, if it is if it is a he's sort of taking a moment to formulate his thoughts. If it is a positive thing, positive magic that we are dealing with, we could go back and get an expert on the matter and see if they would be willing to investigate.
You mean see if the positive lord, so to speak, can lend some of their insight?
Yes, because honestly, I would rather not turn into a statue.
Ah, but you're so picturesque. You could spend all your day around books. Wouldn't that be great? I kid.
How about you? You would be marble.
Be marvelous, actually.
Gosh darn it.
You walked into that one, Jim.
The thing is,
He did.
the thing is, I thought about it too. When I was like, should I make this pun? Nah. And then you did it.
I don't want to be a statue as much as any other bun, but let's be honest. We have nowhere to go other than figuring out what's going on, getting permission to save this realm, as much as it pains me to say so, and in the meantime, ensuring that none of us turn into gorgeous statues.
I
So,
would make a gorgeous statue.
do we want to get official channels to acknowledge us trying to help? Do we want to just go in blindly? Or do we want to go back to take a side trip back to the Foundry and seek out the expert?
Official channels.
Did
I
the
was.
expert help you with pride by any chance?
They did examine things, and apparently they are familiar with certain people.
You're avoiding the question.
Binding is not the same as the magic itself. This binding was in Infernal. That is hardly elementally charged magic.
So you suggest we return to the Foundry. Where did you meet this person, or thing, or primordial, or... Is it a statue that speaks?
I mean, technically, if you think about what astropositives are, I mean, kind of.
He's sort of, you see him sort of fiddle with his fingers a bit.
So a talking statue. You want us to go to speak to his talking statue?
They may have some insight.
Do we just knock? Do we have to send a letter?
You hear him grunt, and you see one of his legs thump, like one of his feet thump against the ground.
Amadeus is just smiling wider. He knows he's getting to him.
Freys will intersect and say, I believe a professional would be the better option so far, because if I have to imagine it's some sort of petrification, and getting any sort of magic or medication for that is not going to be fun. If it's as bad as back home.
Oh, this happens at your place?
Usually with Gorgons.
Or what?
What was that?
Gorg what?
Imagine if you were to look at a snake.
No,
and that's
thank
the
you.
last thing you saw.
That's our mythos in a nutshell. No, I do not want to imagine that. Thank you. Snakes are quite not good.
I'm myself inclined to definitely get a second opinion of what we're getting ourselves into, but before I come to the decision, and Rose turns over to Flix then, as far as for going through official channels goes, what sort of connections did you make when you visited here?
Well, I made connections with the ruler of the plane. She's very sweet. Her advisor was very nice,
And you know her son's a dick.
and her son's an asshole.
Was there, besides the Wind Lord, was there anyone else, within, under her service that you built a rapport with?
Just those three.
No.
I mean,
Did I mention the son was a dick?
In fact, you actually saw him at the market. Or Frias did, at least.
Yeah.
Well, Flix caught wind of him and was like, no, 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 no.
Right,
Got
well,
a guy's mom once, and he never let you live it down.
alright, well, if it was solely my decision to make, I would say we go back to the Foundry, we ask the positive Lord, that's exactly what we're going to be dealing with here then, and the dangers thereof, and then with that knowledge in hand, you try to use Flix's, I guess you could say, indomitable charm to try to court favor with the officials here.
The only downside is they may ask where we got said information.
That's very simple. Leonard.
Mhm. Now, if you remember, Leonard doesn't know a lot of things. He only knew what was happening in Fire.
Well, if it happens in one, it has to happen in another, and we're just sent to make sure everything's okay. What's the problem?
We don't necessarily want to cause an incident.
We just say that we're traveling adventurers here for, how did she put it, adventure and coin, trying to help save the plane.
I don't know if they'll believe in planar janitors. They're Tiberius.
They're called custodial engineers.
Sanitation engineers.
We do need to ask. Hey, the Oh, did I hear a kitty?
His
I heard a
baby.
kitty.
Various goes running off after cats.
Sorry. But Various is like, I would like to ask Amadeus something though. They did seem to know your family name, Tiberius, and suggested
what
that they
you
knew
chose.
more.
As you say that, Tibbs seems to look suddenly paranoid.
Everyone knows the Vermont name. We're known across the plains, apparently.
Then it may not be a good idea for us to go through official channels if that's the case, considering it didn't sound like it was a positive impression that was left.
I could say the same about your sister, couldn't I? Perhaps your family.
Ooh.
Looking at my spells.
How are you going to react to that one, Various? Oh, ooh. What are you gonna do on a wisdom of 8? Oh! I need you to roll wild magic first.
Fun fight.
You're fine. Oh yeah, so Tibbs, as you start to kind of get that cocky little smile on trying to cover your own ass, you see several little balls of light form above Various's head. You know that's magic missile.
Can't. Hold on. I wanted to spell magic that.
For that, you need counterspell for that.
Oh, I can't use the spell. Oh
The
no.
spell doesn't work on active spells. It has to be counterspell.
Oh no.
The spell works on constant magic effects or curses and stuff like that. Not
Yeah,
casting
our-
spells, or else that would be broken.
Yeah, our part is not quite that far yet.
You guys are not that far yet, but you see, actually, how many magic missile casts 3 bolts? Remember, so you want to cast the other 2?
Various is just shooting one. He's
Okay.
not trying to kill him.
So Tibbs, you literally just see a bolt of light streak out from Various and smack you dead on the chest, sending you flying onto your butt for 5 points of force damage. So take 5 points of damage. And yeah, that hurt. You got the wind knocked out of you.
Tiberius is going to pull himself up from the ground and is going to be rolling up his sleeves. All right, you want to do this here and now, Burrows?
Freya's is standing. Nope. No. Okay, we're not doing this here. No, stop.
Do you want to fight? Then let's do it outside.
And at this moment, you see Amadeus is kind of sitting there with a book and a little satchel in hands, like, I have an arena somewhere in here.
He's just like, I've got
Amadeus,
the popcorn
no.
already ready.
So that's what the snacks are there for.
Amadeus, please. Should not be encouraged.
Well, I mean, they obviously have some sort of beef with each other, and I mean, it's not like they can actually kill each other.
What? No, I can kill him perfectly fine.
No, I don't think so.
Oh!
Freya is now looking panicked.
And Amadeus looks very, very calm.
No. There are more important things like saving the plane of wind. We will settle this on our own terms.
Will you really? Do you really have the willpower for that, Mr. Tiberius?
Wow!
Just calling you out.
Oh no! He's just goading them both on.
And he's just got the simplest little smile on his face.
Various hand slowly takes off the egg from his back and holds it out to Freus.
Protect the baby.
At first, she's like, "Please, no, we shouldn't." And then she's already walking over, but still trying to like talk Various out of this.
While all this BS is happening around them, Rose is going to go into a trance, looking into the remains of their teacup, and is
Okay.
going to use do a ritual of augury.
Okay, well, make sure you roll wild magic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared.
Okay. By guessing choose the following possible. Oh. Now, what are you trying to look into? What are you trying to divine out?
Rose is contemplating the knowledge so far, and the events have been vexing both fire and wind then,
Mm-hmm.
and is trying to ascertain of sorts of just how severe, or I guess the better way to put it is trying to ascertain if the positive effects in here, or as if they're as bad as what was having negative was doing to fire, or if it's not as bad, or if it's, oh shit, we're all gonna die bad.
Come with me. As you stare into your teacup, you notice that the leaves that are at the bottom begin to swirl into a hurricane-like shape. For a few seconds, they seem to increase in intensity before you see a crack forming in the eye of the storm. It branches out into your teacup, and you watch as the teacup itself shatters and explodes in front of you before you return back to your normal vision, and the teacup is unharmed.
There's nothing I can stop you with.
That's the thing. No one knows what'll hold him back.
Rose looks up from their, like, just suddenly just looks up almost like a doe looking to the headlights there from the teacup. Well,
Let's go, Burrows. Show us where this arena is, Amadeus. I have a few things I have to settle with this buck.
Well, I can certainly show you the way. It's not too far down.
no tips.
What do you mean, no?
What I'm saying is that if you want to take time, to settle your little spat with Various there, while, I don't know, the heat death of the plains crouches upon us, you can be my fucking guest.
I'm not hearing a reason why we shouldn't do this.
Let me say it myself. Let me phrase that slightly. Let me put another way there. If you want to settle time with this little class warfare or whatever you have going on with Various, then while you're doing all that there, then we could all be turning into statues or doing so, or getting swallowed up by the gods know what then. The point I'm trying to make here is that we need to take action. We need to take it now. We can settle whatever squabbles on the way, but we need to do something about the problem before us.
He's waiting for Burrows to speak. Burrows did take the first shot, after all.
He finally snorts. It's fine. Later.
Oh, you can bet your ears on it, Burrows. I'll take that chunk back out.
As you guys are beginning to argue, Roche, you especially hear this, but you notice that the sound of the calming, dripping water and the wind going through the library suddenly shifts. Instead, you start to hear the wind pick up. And even Amadeus seems a little unnerved by the sudden change.
Oh,
And more
crap.
so, you even hear thunder.
Amadeus, you wouldn't happen to have a window or something around here like that, would you?
Quite a few. If you'll set the books in the small satchel onto the table, follow me.
Freya's panically already holding the dragon egg, picks up the books as well, and it's already right behind him.
After you, Burrows.
He
Follow along.
starts to follow, and very surprisingly gently tries to take the dragon egg back from Frias.
Mm-hmm.
She'll give it back.
And I'm gonna lead you out into. He kind of continues heading out before he leads you to the lower stairs patio area, and you can indeed kind of see out from the cavern area. But unlike the picture here, from the looks of it, you can actually see outside the cavern, and it is pitch black. There is no light shining through, with the occasional bright flash of thunder.
Hey, Amadeus.
He's kind of staring at this a little incredulously, like,
You wouldn't happen to have any contingencies or run any drills for when a storm of this magnitude is suddenly plopped right on top of you, do you?
I do. That
Now-
depends on what you plan to.
Well, now would be a damn good time to go with those into practice.
Yeah, it is. And he suddenly runs off. Like, he darts off. He's faster than you thought he was.
You just left us here.
You're still in the patio area of the manor. You're able to see out, and you can actually see rain pouring in from the cavern opening.
Okay, let's go back inside now.
Do you head back inside?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is done now. We're going inside.
Wow, so much nicer.
And you can still hear the storm, and it seems to be picking up with intensity. But for at least 10 or so minutes, this seems to be happening. You can hear rolling thunder, crashing winds against the island before it begins to sort of muffle, and it seems to quiet down just a little bit, but you can still hear it.
Do you think Ymir probably left?
Oh, crap.
Yeah,
I
that
hope
guy.
I hope he at least goes somewhere to either tie something down or hopefully get there.
And as you were talking, Amadeus does return. It's like, good news and bad news.
Yes.
Good news is I got my little barrier up, so the island should be perfectly safe for the most part, as long as we stay inside. Bad news, your driver's gone. And he didn't leave, he got swept up in the storm.
Did he at least get swept up with his car?
It's all gone.
Oh dear.
Oh, crap.
It even took a few trees out of the ground.
Do you think that they'll... I suppose it's too optimistic to think they'll be alright.
It's hard to say.
The attitude like this, he'll be
When-
fine. My Griffin will come to him and save him in the nick of time, and I'm sure we'll be seeing him again next time. He did rather enjoy going fast.
Amadeus looks a little... He kind of shakes his head at this. The thing about the wind plane is that when you start falling, you don't stop. It's endless. Eventually, no doubt, he would just perish from starvation. Considering he was not a primordial.
Ways of teleporting people.
He also had, how many griffins did he have? At least
Just
one
the
of them
one.
may have. At least they.
But he just literally said they got swept up too.
Hopefully, it's loyal enough to help him out.
Well,
Right?
You have scrying abilities. Find him.
And Amadeus shakes his head and it's like, you honestly expect something able to fly out in that weather.
Well, he got us here.
Again, in this weather,
So we do nothing, and except that he's just dead.
Do you want to go out there?
Do you want to go out there, Mr. Tiberius? In fact, as you say this, you can literally see a bolt of just bright neon lightning crack outside the cave.
I would go out there if it meant that I could save him, but no, I don't want to go there if it's meant risking my own hide for nothing.
And
All right.
considering the fact that he's been swept off the island, you would need to be able to fly, and you would have to fly in this weather.
Alright, well, let's move on to a more tangible question. Based on your current research, what's the over or under on how long these storms tend to last nowadays?
He kind of looks out toward the storm and kind of frowns at this from the patio, and it's like, I don't know. They started when it first started, it was maybe a day or two, but then they've been lasting weeks. The one around the Wind Temple hasn't stopped, and it's only grown.
So what you're saying is we're trapped inside this place of books and secrets.
Hopefully not forever.
Where's the arena?
Well, too bad that hint wouldn't come in handy right now. That would be nice.
Mm. The arena is downstairs to the right, Mr. Tiberius.
Let's go, birds. You and I.
Oh no!
A little
please.
private match.
Hmm. We have enough things to worry about, please.
This is Hopolition business, Freya. You'll remain here.
I know healing magic. I'll at least watch.
Yeah, see if Various turn to Rose and hand him the egg this time.
Well, I guess things won't be completely boring while we're cooped up.
No, you don't get to watch. This is private.
Either I watch, or it doesn't happen. I will not let one of you kill each other.
Oh, we're just going to establish which one of us is the best mage, isn't that right, Burrows?
Amadeus does kind of look at you two and just like, just so you know, my arena is enchanted, so even if you try to kill each other, you won't be able to.
Well, isn't that a letdown?
Suffice to say, even I need my chances to blow off steam.
This is not lucky for you, Burrows. You won't have to kiss the sweet scent of death again.
You should perhaps be a bit more careful with your use of death, Mr. Tiberius, unless you wish to end up like another person. He gives you a very stern look.
Down and to the right, you said.
Down to the right. And please, don't go off the beaten path again.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Various walks off after him. Along with Bellua.
Roastin, Flix, and Frius, what are you guys doing? It seems you are to be trapped here at least for a day or so, from what you know.
Flix,
Freya
go ahead.
will take the book out and actually hand it to Rose, because since he asked for it.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask myself, but I was kind of waiting for my turn.
Rose gives a knowing nod to Frias, and grabbing a book, goes over back to Amadeus. So, you got more of that leaf juice there?
Oh, more than enough. I actually recently restocked it on God. I did.
Alright, well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I guess I'll cram my brains while they're blowing out theirs.
The satchel with the books has 2 sending stones in it. They both connect to my own personal one, so divvy them out as you see fit, but I guess you can make yourselves at home while we wait for the storm to at least quiet down. I'm still not sure how you'll get off of the islands. That's an entirely different matter altogether. Flix, what are you doing?
Flix is gonna pull out his bunny slippers and get ready to spend the night.
Sure. Amadeus will actually kind of see you do this, and it's like, there is a hot spring in the lower quarters as well. It's to the left.
He's gone.
And yeah, indeed, Flix, you kind of head downstairs, you see the buns head off in the right direction, but as you head to the left, you see this nice, you know that scene from Fern Gully with all like the puddles and stuff like that that like, lit up as they like stepped on them? Except there's a nice gentle warmth coming from these. And it's really pretty inside. It's kind of lit up by green, almost jade-looking crystals.
Ooh. I'm gonna go get the bunnies.
Yeah, the bunnies have run off to the arena, which is to the right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go stop them.
Oh. Since you were swinging at Tibbs, go ahead and roll an attack. This one will be based off your strength.
Don't worry, it probably.
So various. You kind of are like, you're so mad. You're seeing red at this point. You just wind up a fist and you go to swing at Tibbs, but you kind of heavily misjudge it, and you're so blinded by your rage that instead of hitting Tibbs, you hit the wall. You're gonna take 2 points of bludgeoning damage as your fist collides with the wall. Yes, Varys, as you kind of are sitting there holding your hand, kind of nursing it a little bit, it's bruised a little bit already, but you see Tibbs has a piece of paper that is just full of what looks to be numbers and letters in strange orders. Like some weird code. And for those of us listening, it looks like ASCII code. It's written in his handwriting, however.
Grace really doesn't care that he hurt himself. When does Flix show up is the question. God damn it.
Frace will ask Amadeus if he has one of the Arcanum Infiniums.
And he kind of looks at Frace. It's like, well, I'm the author of it. Of course I do. Probably have several different copies of several different of my iterations, and I'm actually currently working on another one. That's kind of why everything's a little discombobulated at the moment, and I apologize for that. Are you looking for the newest edition? Are you looking for the draft version? Looking for an older version?
Her eyes just start twinkling and going,
Oh.
I'll read whichever one has the most information. If there's edits, I'll read everything.
Well, I certainly do have the edits. I was actually looking to get the current one published, but with, everything happening right now, it's been a little impossible to get a hold of my publisher. He seems to be a little distracted by the storm outside, but at the same time, you definitely have snapped him away from that. It's like, I can show you my printing and editing room.
I would love that. I'm trying to work on my own publication as well, and I'm sure the regular world would love to know about what's everything out here. And she starts like going onto a ramble as he's trying to
Oddly
walk.
enough, he's listening rather intently to you. And then he's actually starting to lead you along. He's not going downstairs where everyone else has gone. He's actually taking you upstairs to a side room. And that side room is full of just files and folders and this large printing press and just tons of notes and like like corkboards scattered and everything. It's like it looks like a literalist's planning room, and there's tons of books everywhere.
Pepe Sylvia.
She's just like a child right now, just looking over everything. She's like even pulling out her own books and like at least giving him information on the creature that they fought, so that and giving them the information that they learned from what Leonard's science team learned, and she's like actively trying to give him information as well for his own
and he's
purposes.
actually parroting some of the stuff back about how, since this is a public works, the information's open to everyone, so he's more than happy to discuss it with you and stuff like that. Like, he's showing you some of the drafts about primordial biology, creating packs and binds, and there's a ton of information. And he seems very open to discuss it.
Happy Freya's.
Imagining Freya's like clapping.
Also, Tibbs and Various, you notice that Flix is now behind you and in bunny slippers.
After we put in the kids to bed, she'll be right back in a minute.
Okay. We're actually going to be starting to wrap up here soon, so I'm going to leave this open for you guys to roleplay. Yeah, you're going to be stuck here for a little bit.
Rose will, seeing everyone go more or less their separate ways, is going to grab a fresh... Sorry?
He did basically give you open invitation to explore the place, so...
For the time being, Rose is going to take the blue magic book, lend it to them from Amadeus. Is going to get a fresh cup of tea, and is going to settle into a pile of pillows and just try to, for the time, shut out the chaos from within and outside the sanctum, and just focus on just pure study.
Alright, and you can very, very easily just find a little corner to relax. I mean, you can kind of hear the storm churning outside, and even in the depths of the manor itself, it's still a little on the uneasy side, but the sound of the rain eventually pounding against whatever barrier Amadeus put up is kind of relaxing. Yeah, Rose, you basically went up to the second floor where you guys originally were at with the tea station, and you have essentially stolen Tibbs' pillow fort.
My throne!
Now, would Rose be taking the egg with him? Because
who has the egg right now?
Yeah, Various handed it to Rose.
So does Rose have the dragon egg with him right now?
Yes, Rose still would.
Okay, cool.
Unfortunately, I have the book now because I basically took the contents of the satchel and threw it in my own book, or my own pack, because multiple books, I know how to protect them.
And you currently also have a book, Freyas. The other book was Train as the Species of Fire Dragons. And
Yeah,
there's
that's
a
the
bookmark
other.
in it specifically to the Wyvern category.
Unfortunately, she's off in another world now. No one will find
Amadeus is literally just letting her go wild. Because you have found another nerd who is way too much into information gathering as you are. And yeah, Flix is gonna try to drag you two to the hot springs. And then Rose, as you kind of are sitting back to read, you notice that sometimes the satchel containing the egg does kind of wiggle every now and then, but it's nowhere close to hatching. But it does occasionally catch your eye.
Rose, does on occasion when sensing the wiggle, they They guide their hand around the surface of the egg and just kind of absentmindedly deliver some of their natural heat back into the egg then until it quells down, and then we'll just continue to read and read.
All right.
Papa Rose.
It's the baby.
The baby!
But with everything winding down and the storm raging outside, this is where we'll be ending the session for today. I'll be leaving you guys open for roleplay in the Off the Clock channel. And just in case you need Amadeus to interact with you in any way, please make sure you ping me, because sometimes the store doesn't go off and doesn't let me know you're doing stuff.
Roger, roger.
So, thank you all for watching this session of Aether Eternius, Dark Side of the Foundry. Things are getting a little scary. We'll see what happens next time.
Fight! 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 Fight!
Fight!
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.